Hello and welcome to Handicrafts. I'm Nikki and today I'm going to show you how I made this white on white Mother's Day card using the free gifts from issue 171 of Papercraft Essentials. Starting with a piece of white cardstock, I am using a medium-sized circle die to cut an aperture on the left-hand side. I position the die hanging over the edge and secure it with washi tape before running through my Big Shot die cutting machine. You could position your aperture anywhere. I liked the asymmetric position for this card design. Next, I'm going to stamp the sentiment on a strip of white cardstock using black ink. First, I stamp the word happy. Here I'm using an acrylic block, but if you want to make sure it's aligned, you could use a stamp positioning tool. As you can see, the Mother's Day stamp is laid out one word on top of the other, but I want to stamp across this strip. So I'm using a piece of Post-it note to cover part of the stamp while I ink up the first word and then remove it before stamping down. When using this technique, it's worth checking for any errant ink on the stamp, which you can always wipe away. Alternatively, you could decide to use sharp scissors to carefully cut the stamp apart, allowing you to rearrange the words or use them in the original layout. Here I'm just finishing off our sentiment strip by cutting a banner end with some scissors. If you have a banner punch, you could use this instead. Next, I'm preparing the A6 card base. I position our panel centrally so there will be a small border on all sides when mounted. I found the best way to position the pattern paper piece was to use a pencil to outline where the aperture will be. I'm using a tacky craft glue to adhere this together. I put it aside to dry under something heavy for a few minutes. I've already die cut a number of the pieces here using the die set from the magazine. To make a more substantial die cut bird and branch, I'm going to layer 3 of each together, adhering these with my craft glue and again putting them on a flat surface with something heavy on while they dry. Once layered, I then glue the branch to the bird's feet. Now I'm going to put it all together. I start by placing the sentiment strip. I'm using double-sided adhesive foam pads here to pop it up on the card. I know the bird and branch will be placed in the aperture, but I'm just going to cover the bottom a little. I want some flowers and foliage to surround the sentiment strip and the aperture, mostly filling the space in the middle of the card. So I start by arranging a few of these leafy branches. I'm even tearing a little bit off the bottom of one of these so I can position it a little further underneath our sentiment. I find it useful to have a pair of tweezers when working with these small die cut pieces to help with positioning them. I place the largest flower almost centrally, and though I'm adhering it straight to the card front, I'm only putting glue in the center of the flower so I can bend the petals upwards a little and have one of them overlapping our banner. I'm continuing to build the flower arrangement, tucking some leaves in here and there. I decided to make some of these flowers more interesting by layering and offsetting two of the same die cuts. Again, I'm just adhering in the center so I can pop up those petals. I position the flowers first and then decide where to place the leaves to fill in. I'm using adhesive foam pads to adhere our panel onto our card base, and I'm using plenty of them to make sure that the card is supported evenly. And finally, adhering our bird on its little branch, again using foam pads, but here I'm layering two together to lift it further up from our card base. Originally, this is where I stopped on this card, but after coming away from it, I decided to add a couple of more finishing touches. Here I have some small pearl embellishments. I'm just placing one of these in the center of each of the four prominent flowers. The final touch is to create a splatter effect by tapping my shimmer pen over the card. So there you have it, a white on white Mother's Day card. You can find links to my blog in the description below, where I'll provide the details of the dimensions and supplies I used. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.